Hello, this is Kathy with Duality Unfolding, and I have a pick a card reading for you. This reading is going to be about trusting your inner knowing. So for each group, Ben agrees, for each group I have 3 tarot cards and 1 oracle card, and the reading is going to be about whatever it is that you need to trust your inner knowing about. So this is really more of like a generalized kind of reading. So whatever comes through is going to be the thing that you need to trust your intuition, trust your knowing on. And I'm excited to see what these are about. I haven't looked at the cards. I didn't want to peek before we started. So for group number 1, I have this I Put a Spell on You sticker. I got some little kind of Halloween cute stickers for a little market thing that I'm going to be doing in a couple weeks. So group number 2, we have this little pink cactus. It doesn't have any thorns. Group number 3, this little trio of potion bottles. And group number 4, we've got this moth and another potion bottle. So feel free to use these stickers to choose, or the artwork for the tarot cards. And timestamps are below, and I will see you guys in the reading. Hello, group number 1. So if you chose this little, I Put a Spell on You sticker, this is your reading. So let's see what we have for you. Okay, so we've got the Vessel, just like 9 of Cups, energy, very interesting. I don't know why it gave me 9 of Cups energy. The Swan, and Ace of Embers. And then we've got Decision here. With this Vessel card, I feel like this is you. Like you are the vessel, which sounds kind of weird. But we've got this little face at the very top, and it almost looks like this is a depiction of, like it feels like this is you. This is your energy. Like there's so much that you have inside of you, like that. I don't know if you've been trying to hide it. I don't know if you have some kind of maybe programming or beliefs that you're working through around like being too much, it not being safe to shine. Whatever you've done to kind of tamp yourself down, whatever you've done to sort of dim your light, it's not working. So traditionally with like some kind of container or vessel, we wouldn't be able to see what's inside of it, right? Because it's enclosed. Like this little vase, this vessel has a lid on it. But what's happening is we've got all this light shining behind it, and there's all these little suns, and even like these little dots with circles in them. Like I feel like these are little, almost like little suns and stars as well. You are not fooling anybody. This is the message that I get. Like you think that you're dimming your light. You think that you're maybe like toning things down. You think you're kind of sneaking under the radar, but you are not. And I think the cutest part of this is that, we got this little face on this vessel, but they don't see like the bright light that's illuminating behind them. And it's almost like you are blind to your own brightness. You are blind to your own illumination. And that just feels like really funny to me, like not in a mean way, like not like in a condescending way. It's really kind of like adorable. It's like, kids are, oh gosh, like cats. Unless you hate cats, then you won't get this. But I feel like sometimes my cats do things and I'm like, why are you so cute? Like, how come you're so cute? Like, they don't know. They're just living their best little cat life, They're just cleaning their little toe beans. They don't know what's going on. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're so cute. I just want to squish you. But I don't, because that's weird. And they don't like that. Generally, I think nobody likes being squished, but I don't know, to each their own. But I feel like it's that kind of adorable where it's like, oh, look at group number 1. Just like blazing bright. They have no idea that like everybody sees it and they think they're just hiding it. They think they put a little like a trench coat over that light. How cute. Look at them just thinking that nobody sees how special they are. And I feel like with this, I put a spell on you. Like there's something very enchanting about you, because even with this, like, like this little spell book, there's little hearts all over it, right? And the eye is wide open. Like there's nothing nefarious about this. Even this like bookmark that looks like maybe a little snake. It's like, you're trying to look scary, but you're not. You ain't fooling anybody, little guy. And so I feel like there's just like this kind of sort of like a little bit of like adorable, endearing energy about you, like that people they just like you, it's like group number 1, we like them. Okay, so the Swan number 2, this is I feel like this card is giving me like kind of a lover's vibe, even though this is not like a traditional lover's card. And I say that because of the reflection. So like the lover's card, the energy of the lover's card is about having things reflected back to us. And so, we have this swan that's like looking at its reflection, and it's almost like it doesn't understand that like that its own reflection is being mirrored back. It sees something that it thinks is other than itself. And so it feels like there's very much like this message of oneness that when you see people that you think are different than you, like when you see people that you're like, oh, they're so much more successful than me, or you see people and you're like, they're so much more attractive than me, they know what they're doing, and even the people that you're like, wow, they like that guy's a hot mess. Like, any ways that we see people and we really kind of make this sort of judgment about them, like positive or negative, let's say an observation, because it doesn't feel like judgmental energy, even with the comment of like, that guy doesn't know what he's doing. It's not like, what a moron, it's like, oh, that guy like seems really lost. Whenever you make these observations about other people, it's an opportunity that the universe is giving you to reflect on how you are like them, how you have been like them, how you've been in that position before. So, the times that you feel like, oh my gosh, that person is like so successful, like I could never be that successful. Let's take that statement out of there. I haven't reached that level of success yet. You recognize it and you're drawn to it because it's attracting some sort of likeness within you. It's reflecting something back to you about yourself. That success is attractive to you because that's something that you would like to attain. That's something that you're moving towards. Just like when we see people that we're like, oh my gosh, this person's so lost. We can allow it to reflect back to us the times in our lives that we were really lost. Like maybe the one time we went to a train station to a town that we had never been in, and we're like, how do I get out of here? Like, I'm so lost. I've never been in a train station before. And what is this platform? We can remember that, and kind of give ourselves some empathy and like give that other person some empathy and just realize that, we all experience those things, right? Like we all experience what it feels like to be lost or in the unknown, because we're always learning. We're always experiencing new things, and you can't know what you haven't learned yet. And it feels like you're kind of coming into this understanding of what oneness is, that we can recognize parts of other people that we have experienced before. We can recognize parts of other people that we haven't experienced before, and understand that like we all are going through kind of similar things within this human experience, right? Like we all have a favorite food, or we all have like a comfort person, or we all have like a favorite memory, and we all have things that we fear. And so it just feels like there's this, you're being encouraged to allow the things that you observe about others to be a reflection back to you about you. And this could be for the purpose of being really gentle and kind to that past version of yourself, or being really gentle and kind to the version of yourself now, or being really gentle and kind to the future version of yourself that you haven't met yet. And then with this Ace of Embers, this is Ace of Wands, this fire energy, this creativity, this is a new beginning. Like this is taking action towards a new beginning. And with this decision card, like I feel like it the need to gain clarity through decision making, it feels like you're coming to the knowledge, experience, like there's something missing, but it's not missing like, gosh, it's the thing that's coming to mind is when you buy furniture, like if you've ever ordered furniture and had to put furniture together and like there's like one screw missing and you're like, okay, so now I can't put this dresser together without like this one screw, right? That maybe it's like a dresser that's got 3 drawers, but the one screw missing is for the 3rd drawer. So it's like, okay, do I just use 2 drawers? No, that I didn't buy a 2-drawer dresser. I bought a 3-drawer dresser and I need the 3rd drawer for stuff. And so, you know, maybe we have to reach out to the manufacturer, or maybe we have to dig through like some screws that we have in our little kind of junk Tupperware thing with our random tools, because being a grown-up is weird. Or maybe we have to go to the store and just get one of those screws, or maybe we call our dad and he's like, I got it, I'll bring it over for you, buddy. And so we're waiting for that one missing piece to arrive, right? Because like we know exactly what it is we need, and we just need to tangibly have it so that we can put it into, you know, the little hole and put the drawer together and put everything in its place and put all our stuff in there, and then it's ready to go. And so it feels like this Ace of Wands is you taking action to get that missing piece, you making the phone call, you going to the store, you maybe taking one of the screws out of the drawer so you could take it to the store and be like, I need one of this. I don't know what it's called. Please help. I just need one. And once you have that one missing piece, then that is going to be like that clarity that you need to make that decision. With this decision card, the thing that's coming through is that like, this is in some way, like this is a really pivotal decision for you. This decision is either going to solidify that you are capable of making really big, significant decisions. Like for some of you, this might be the word paramount is coming into my brain. This is a really like pivotal decision. It could be pivotal that like maybe it's a career change, it's a relationship change, it has to do with moving, like it's something that affects like a really big part of our life. But for others of you, it is not as much a significant decision as the impact of it has to do with making the decision. I feel like what I just said didn't make a whole lot of sense. So for some of you, the decision itself is big. For others of you, making that decision is what is the big impactful thing. That for some of you, this might be the first time that you've made a really big decision for yourself. Like maybe you've made big decisions for other people, or you've made big decisions based on what other people wanted for you. I'm feeling that pretty strongly for those of you that like, if this decision is taking you down a path that is solely about what you want for your own life, it might not be a huge life-changing decision from the outside looking in. But for some of you, like, you're making this decision to kind of allow yourself to be more comfortable with kind of shining. Some of you, like, you've had things reflected back to you, and the person that God, source, spirit, even other people have reflected back to you isn't who you see yourself as. And so to use a really simple example, like, maybe you've always had a specific haircut, and you have kind of met new people. Maybe like you started a new job, or you started like interacting with other people, and like people kind of use the same words to like describe you, or they share certain words with you that you realize are connected to your appearance, specifically to your hairstyle. And the thing that you realize is like that's not really who I am. And that if these new people I'm interacting with see me as this, because that's what I'm presenting, is that what I want to present? You know, or have I always had this haircut because this is the haircut I've had since I was a kid? Or have I always had this hairstyle because that's what people of my gender are supposed to have, right? That like boys have short hair, girls have long hair. Or, you know, if you've got curly hair and you always like blow dry it, or if you always wear your hair up or whatever, you know, you always get like, you part your hair a certain way, whatever it is, you know, for your style, like, is that something that really reflects who you are, who the person is like within you? Does that show people your sense of style as it relates to your attitude, your personal representation? And if it doesn't, I feel like that tangible thing of getting that haircut or changing your hair color or changing your hairstyle is this decision that is going to give you a lot of clarity about like what authenticity means for you. You know, for others of you, it might be like making a move, right? Like moving somewhere else or like changing careers, and that the act of doing that thing, you know, taking action on that decision is really what has been needed for you to get into alignment with who you are. Because for whatever reason, like the thing that's coming up, I think because of this card, is that like there's been a lack of this integration, that the way that you look to others doesn't match who you are on the inside, who you know yourself as, and that like it's not, you're not doing something to create this mismatch. Like you didn't realize this was happening. I think that you have lived your life a certain way, and like you know who you are and you're secure in who you are, and you never really realize that like people don't see you the way that you authentically are. And I feel like that really weighs heavily on you, that it's very uncomfortable that like one, that you aren't seen for who you are, but now that you realize it, it's like, you know, you can't unsee something, you can't unfeel it, like it feels like it feels like a harsh realization. It feels like a reality check, but it's something very internal to you, you know, that it's not this reality check like, oh, my car got repossessed, you know, like that's a big external reality check. It's just, I feel like I can't think of like I can't think of an analogy. I'm pretty short, like I'm 5 feet tall, and whenever I get around somebody that's really, really tall, like over 6 feet tall, then I remember how short I am, because I feel like most of the time, like most people are that I'm around at least are not excessively tall, right? That like, I mean, 5'7", 5'6", like, you know, that is a little tall, but it's not super tall to me. But like if I am around someone that's over 6 feet tall, then I'm like, oh my gosh, I am a garden gnome. Like why are they so big? And it's just like this reminder, you know, they're like, oh yeah, I'm a little person. Like like I forget that, you know, I have friends that have teenagers that are my size. So I just don't see that very often. So it feels like that kind of reality check. It's not like, oh my gosh, I can't live like this. You know, it's not like that. It's just like, oh yeah, I forgot I'm short. So it feels the same, except for it's not something you can laugh off. It's something that you're like, okay, I need to take action to, I need to take action to align the way that I represent myself with who I am on the inside. I feel like because, authenticity is just coming up. It's very important for you to, for yourself, it's very important for you to express yourself outwardly the way that you feel inwardly, which I feel like is just a really beautiful thing. Also, like, we've got very much like this bright kind of fiery energy on both sides of this internal reflection card, where it's like, you know, you weren't really aware of how brightly you shined, and then you had something happen where you're starting to reflect on it, and now you're taking action to allow yourself to really authentically shine. And, you know, this decision is it's something that's really, it's it almost feels like a fork in the road, you know, that like it's something that's going to take you on. You're not going off trail, you're not going off route, you're just kind of going off the beaten path. You're still moving the same direction that you were. It's kind of, it reminds me of like hiking. You know, whenever I go to my favorite hiking place, it's a nature preserve. And so after the summer, when like the leaves start to fall kind of mid-fall, the paths get kind of covered, and you'll start to see over time that like sometimes people will make like a path that's like kind of next to where the original path is, because you can't see anything, there's leaves everywhere, but it's still going in the same direction, right? So maybe instead of going on this side of a tree, they go on this side, you know, and it's like neither one is wrong. Like, you're still moving in the same direction, you're just kind of off the beaten path. So that's really kind of what it feels like, that you have this opportunity to go down the path that you've been told to go down, or to deviate a little bit and to continue to move in that direction, knowing that like you know enough about where you're going, you have enough experience, you have the tools to continue to safely get to where you're going, but you also have the wisdom to know when like, okay, I maybe need to like backtrack a little bit and get back on that beaten path because I saw a snake, and we don't do snakes. Just for illustrative purposes or for real hiking purposes. You know, I haven't hiked all summer because snakes, they get to have the forest. I'll be back when it's cold and they're sleeping underground. So group number 1, this has been your reading on trusting your inner knowing. So I hope that it was helpful. As I don't know what it is that, you know, what the decision is that you're kind of dealing with, but I hope that you feel supported. I hope that, if nothing else, you know that we see you shining. You ain't fooling anybody, kid. And yeah, if you enjoyed the reading, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. I would super love it if you left a comment just to let me know if this was helpful for you, or you enjoyed it, or you know, that you thought this little guy was funny. But yeah, I hope that you have a lovely day, night, evening, wherever you are at. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye. Hello, group number 2. So if you chose this little tiny pink cactus, this is your reading. So let's take a look at what we have. Oh, and you actually got 2 oracle cards. Like, I only meant to pick 1, but 2 jumped out. So you have 2. Okay, so we've got this 3 of Pentacles, this Devil card, and this Empress card. 3 of Pentacles, this is the after tarot, so this looks a little bit different than the traditional tarot, because this is maybe moments after whatever we see in the traditional tarot. So if you're not familiar, it's fine. The 3 of Pentacles is a card of mastery. Like it's a card of collaboration. And in this card, it feels like this is after all the collaboration has been done. Like, we've got this sculpture of, it looks like almost like a child carrying this basket of whatever they've harvested, and they're walking on this kind of stage. You know, this almost looks like a museum exhibit, right? This looks like a finished piece of art, a finished work, so to speak. We've got this little, you know, hammer and chisel and things like that. And we've got the artist here, you know, with their kind of coat around their arm, just admiring like the work that they've done. Got this Devil card with these two these two that have made it from either side of, you know, their chains to be together. And it almost looks in a way like they are chained together. Like I can't tell if it's just that each of them has chains on and they're close to each other, or if they're actually chained together. And then we've got this Empress card. And she's, holding up her little light. And then she's got these little baby geeses, baby swans, all around her. Oh my gosh, look at this little guy. His attitude. This is so funny. He looks mad, which cracks me up. Okay, and then we've got these two oracle cards. So, what is coming through to me for like what you need to trust your inner knowing about is that one, you're capable of completing the things that you want to do, and others are going to see how hard you're working. You've had a lot of stuff to overcome, and that sometimes I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a hot take. Sometimes there are things that tempt us that we can vilify ourselves for. And when we give in to them, sometimes that's a way to give ourselves a little bit of reprieve. Sometimes it's a way to give ourselves a little bit of really deep, luxuriant self-care. For example, this is not for everything, because if you're familiar with the tarot, the devil is associated with temptations. On the really extreme end of temptation, we've got addiction, right? And so it's like, you can't really indulge in like hard drugs every once in a while. I mean, you could do whatever you want, but it's not like I'm just gonna go on a fentanyl bender for the weekend and then back to my corporate job. Like, doesn't really work that way. At least not from what I've seen in different documentaries. But on the light end of temptation, or on the light end of the spectrum for like the devil card in temptation, it can be just that we have a sweet tooth, and like I just want to have a milkshake today. Also, I'm gonna have one tomorrow. I'm gonna go to the grocery store. I'm gonna buy myself a gallon of ice cream, and I'm just gonna make myself milkshakes because I'm in a really hard time, or I have done all this work and I just really need to reward myself with something that feels good and feels luxuriant. And is it the end of the world? Do I care if I'm going to gain 2 pounds at the end of this milkshake weekend? No, I don't. And sometimes like when we are so afraid to make a move, like, because the devil does represent fears, like when we're so afraid to make any move because we're so afraid of making a mistake that we just stay frozen and life passes us by and like nothing happens, right? So I'm gonna tie it all together, I promise. If this artist was so afraid of other people judging their work, if this artist was so afraid of like being a terrible sculptor or having people not like his art, or just being afraid to put himself out there, to put his art out there, that is the fear of the devil, right? That like, I can't do this because I'm not a real sculptor because I've never sculpted anything before. Okay, well, I mean, that's valid, but it's like, you can't really become a good sculptor until you've sculpted something to see like where you need to improve, right? Like it's really just the concept of like the first draft, right? That like nobody publishes the first draft of their book because, not that I've written a book, but I would imagine like writing a book, the first draft, like the technical first draft is probably like a structure and kind of bones of the book. Like, who are the characters and like, what's the idea of the story, and it might just look like a page of notes where like, if you shared it with somebody, they might be like, I don't know what this is, because that is your initial structure. It's like seeing, this sculptor seeing a giant rock and seeing this child with a basket in that rock when everybody else just sees it as a rock. That as he starts to kind of chisel away and like hammer chunks off of it, it's like, that's the start of the sculpture. Like, that's the start of the artwork. And like, when we're too afraid to start, then we never do. So then we never know what we're capable of. We never know what we can accomplish. Like, we never get to this place where we can really celebrate and be proud of ourselves for what we've done. You know, the Empress is just this very like nurturing energy, but also like with her holding this I'm a K-pop fan. This makes me think of like an army bomb, which is like a little flashlight that BTS fans have, that they take to concerts, back when we used to go to concerts. We can't now because they're all in the military, but whatever. Well, not all of them. One's back. Anyway, I probably should, but probably won't edit this out. She's got this kind of scepter thing that she's holding up, and her body language is very proud, right? She's sitting on this really like luxurious chair in the middle of a field with swans. Like, the whole thing is, it's excess. It's a little bit ridiculous, but we love ridiculous. Well, I mean, at least I do. And like she just is owning it, right? I'm gonna sit out in this grass by this little stream with these trees and my little pet swan family, and look at what I've accomplished. Look at what I have. Look at what I've done. Look at what I've allowed myself to feel worthy to possess and have and display and share. If you stay afraid to start whatever your thing is, you'll never get to your own place of success, is really what the message is. There will be points when it's hard. There will be points when it's scary. But just because you're scared doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Just because it's hard doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. If you've ever like worked out, like lifted weights, even if you've ever like started running after like not having run or never having run, or like if you've ever like not gone for walks for a long time and then you start to go again and it's like, oh yeah, I used to walk 5 miles, and then you're like half a mile in and my shins are burning. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, right? Like, you're not walking wrong. You're not like doing it wrong. It's just your body is not in the shape to do that, you know, and it feels hard because your muscles are like, whoa, where's the couch? You know, maybe it's just me. I don't know. But just because it feels uncomfortable, just because there's maybe some cramping, just because you don't feel great about your body because you're not in the shape that you were in 2, 4, 10 years ago, doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong, doesn't mean that you should quit, doesn't mean that you're a failure. Because with this Empress card, like, once you start, you will succeed, but there is a path that you have to go down. This is a process. This is sort of a long-term thing. Not saying that your success is going to take forever, but there's a process to it, right? We can't, in this physical, tangible world, like, we can't decide we're going to lose 10 pounds and then like 2 weeks later we lost all the 10 pounds. Like, it doesn't, our bodies don't work that way. Our brain does, you know, but our bodies are dense and they need time to like adjust, you know, and we have to go through the cravings of wanting to have milkshake weekend, but also wanting more to not have to buy new clothes. So we want more to lose weight than to have milkshake weekend, you know, and that internal struggle is part of the process, like, of breaking that habit within ourselves. You know, and so if the fear that it's going to be hard has been deterring you, how can you just accept that, like, you have done hard things before and you can do hard things? If you've never done anything hard before, I don't believe you. And so I invite you to reflect back on any part of your life. Did you graduate from high school? I feel like high school's hard. Like, school is hard. Being a kid is hard. Like, there's so many things that we do in this life that are difficult, that we make it through, that we kind of don't give ourselves credit for because it's just normalized. So yeah. And then we've got these oracle cards that say, my kindness is a gift I bestow upon the world, which is beautiful. And it's safe to slow down, relax, and let go. Yeah. So, I'm going to put these here. I feel like this is the correct order in my my intuitive sense. Once you start to do the thing that you're afraid to do, you don't have to do all of it in one day. Like I said, this is a longer term process that, for the sculptor to make this sculpture, like, it didn't take one day. How big must this like rock have been? How long would it take to move it into this thing? Is it all one piece? Did he carve it into the building? Is it cement? We don't know. But whatever it is, it's not going to take one day, right? Like, it's a process. Like, he had to find a rock that was big. Well, he had to, sorry, my brain works backwards, like backtracking. He had to find a rock that was big enough. He had to find a rock that he could envision this sculpture in, but possibly before that, he had to find other rocks that he could sculpt that maybe didn't turn out great. And he learned, okay, this type of rock doesn't work. Or, maybe he learned, like, I don't really like sculpting things out of rock. I would rather make this out of clay, and then make a bigger model. Or maybe whatever his method is, right? But there's this process of trial and error that the first sculpture he ever did is not this one. This is not this one, that it's safe to like slow down. It's safe to relax. It's safe to just let yourself be in the process of learning and doing whatever this thing is that you're scared to do, that you don't have to do it perfect, that you don't have to do it fast, that everything is unfolding for your best, highest good. Everything is unfolding in the way that it needs to. And that just because something takes time doesn't mean that it's like wrong or bad. So like the thing that's coming to mind, which, like I said, this is a general reading, this may or may not apply to you, is social media. So if you are following other creators within your field on social media and your brain is telling you that it takes, 30 to 60 seconds to make this sculpture because of the power of editing, I would, one, tell you that you're Delulu, and two, I would invite you to maybe like not follow that content so literally, or even to send them a direct message and ask them, like, how long did this actually take you? Like, I'm getting started in this, and like, I love your work, I love your process, but it's really discouraging because I have tried to make something that looks like this and it turned out horrible, and I don't even know how I would get to the point to be good enough to make content like this, right? Like, even just like thinking about having that kind of conversation with someone could be helpful for you, because like, do you really think that like the person did like one take of like 60 seconds of something? No. Like, you can't do anything in 60 seconds, like that doesn't work that way. So I would invite you to, give yourself a break, like be kind to yourself, right? Like, just because people make it look easy doesn't mean it is. Yeah. And that with this, my kindness is a gift I bestow upon the world. This feels almost to me like part of your success will be that you are going to deeply connect. When you're here, you will deeply connect with the people that are here. So this journey might lead you to a path where you go back and you teach whatever your skill is. It might be that you just support people that are starting out their journey. It might just be that like this process changes your level of like empathy and kindness towards people in general, because we're all starting somewhere with something, right? And it's like, even if we're just starting our day, it's like a whole new day that we can kind of think about like, okay, this will probably happen. That's my schedule. This is this, whatever. This is what normally happens. But like, in all honesty, like we've all had those days where like it did not go as planned. It was totally like a dumpster fire, right? And like we're all doing our best. And kindness is such a big part of that, of allowing people the space to just sort of, muddle their way through whatever experience they're having in this human life. But yeah, again, I want to repeat that, like, if you never start because you're too afraid, you'll never get to this successful place. And that when it gets hard, when you're scared, when you're unsure, when the doubt comes in, when the negative self-talk comes in, that's part of the process, right? That, it might be an indicator to like slow down and relax, and like maybe that negative self-talk is like, oh, you're never gonna finish this, and maybe part of that letting go is to kind of counter that thought with like, well, maybe I won't. Maybe I've gotten all the skills out of this piece, out of this work, out of this rock that I can, and that I need to move on to something else. That everything can be a learning opportunity if we choose it to be. And in those times that like that self-doubt comes up, that negative self-talk comes up, maybe that's the opportunity for you to be kind to yourself. Maybe that's an opportunity for you to reach out to someone who is kind, to remind you that like you can do hard things, and that like you've made it through hard things, and like it's whatever you choose to do, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. Yeah, I feel like somebody needs that like whatever choices you make, whatever you do, you're going to be okay. Yeah. Whoever that's for, I'm sending you a hug. Because it very much, like, I feel in my body, there's kind of this visceral feeling of like this heaviness, that like, is it going to be okay? Is it? Yes, it will. It will. Even if it doesn't feel like it, even if it doesn't seem like that, it will. It's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Yeah, group number 2, this has been your reading for what you need to trust your inner knowing about. So if you enjoyed the reading, I would love it if you would like and subscribe and comment. I'd love to hear, whatever you'd like to share about the reading, however you feel about rocks and sculpting. Or, how you deal with your fear. Or if you're just excited for success that is going to be coming towards you as you take those steps to move towards it. So I hope that you have a lovely day, night, or evening whenever you're watching this. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye. Hello, group number 3. So if you chose this little Halloween potion trio thing, this is your reading. So let's see what we've got. Okay. Okay. So, I love that we have 3 of Cups here with this 3 of Potions, and 3 of Pentacles. Okay, so numbers, creative numbers, like 3s. Obviously, we've got 3 3s here. What is going on? Your group number 3. How cute is this? Oh, adorable. Okay, so this reading is about trusting your inner knowing about something. So this Queen of Cups card, we've got these little messages on the card. Intuition, compassion, creativity. Got this creative numbers card. 3 of Cups, family, friends, abundance, joy. And we've got this 3 of Pentacles. Enterprise, success, talent, and teaching. Okay. What I'm oh, sorry. I'm laughing because when I looked at this card, like the first thing that caught my eye was audience. So for some of you, there is this is a big message about collaboration, connection, community. You are the Queen of Cups. You have something that you have something to offer. You have something that you want to offer, but you feel like it's not something that people really want or need. Like there's this kind of doubtful part of your mind that's like, nope, nobody wants to drink out of that. Like nobody's drinking that. Like no, they don't want it. But your soul's like, no. Like just get. Well, you don't know that nobody wants it. Like you have to offer it to people, you know. And the ego's like, no, nobody wants that. And it's like, okay, I'm telling you that people want it. You have an audience of people that want it. And they're like-minded people like you. I just love this Three of Cups, Three of Potions, right? Like all three of these are, you know, obviously they're all Halloween themed, because there's a little Halloween sticker. They all have little ghosties coming out of them, you know, but also like with this Three of Cups, this is a very close-knit group. Like it's a very inclusive group. Like these people like each other. Three of Cups is a card of like friendships. Yeah, celebration. Like they're all coming together for something really positive. We got these beautiful halos behind each of their heads. Everyone is equally holding onto each other, cradling each other. There's a feeling of like, it feels like being cherished, like deep gratitude. You ever have those connections where it's like, you hang out with someone and like you do the thing like you've always done, right? Because this is what you've always done, right? This is someone that you've been friends with for like years or decades, and you always meet on whatever day of the month to have their get together dinner, and it's kind of and you do it because that's what you do, right? The familiarity has kind of tricked you into thinking there's some kind of like deep connection. And then you meet other people that like you hang out with a couple times, and then something happens and you're there to support them, or they're there to support you. And like you're sharing that, like, I'm so grateful for this friendship. Like this friendship is so nourishing. Like I feel like that old familiar connection that you just continue to be in because that's what you've done is something that like really needs to be released, because this new connection that's coming in, or this new energy really that's coming in is one of like gratitude and cherishing and like appreciation. And so for some of you, this could be a relationship, a connection, you know, it could be friends or like an intimate connection. For some of you, this could even be work, like working someplace like where you're very skilled and talented, but like you've worked there for so long, or the people that you work with or work for don't really see your talents because they don't really care about any of it. Like they're not invested. They don't care to like help people grow. There's no mentorship, and there's something new that you want to move towards. And like when you take that step to like this new job or this new career or this new whatever it is, I mean, it could be that like you're in a corporate job you hate, and then you go to like, I don't know, some kind of like sewing class, right? And you're like learning to sew, and like you meet people there that are like, oh my gosh, like you're such a bright light, like it's so fun when you're here, like we always get to giggle, or like, can you teach me how to like make that bag, or like like where did you get that fabric from? Do you want to go fabric shopping or whatever? Like it doesn't have to be literally leaving a job and finding another job. Like when you let go of the old familiar, this is the way we've always done it, and you open yourself up to something new with new people, it brings this really beautiful, collaborative, grateful, like really like nourishing energy to it, you know, that like, because we've got this Queen of Cups, right? And she's kind of sitting here like, well, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not amazing, like I'm a queen, it's cool, and then we've got this Three of Cups where like everybody just like, they just love each other, right? They're just like really kind of in this embrace of, like just gratitude and like the joy and the abundance and the friendship. And then this, you leaving behind the old, and taking a risk on connecting with the new is going to lead you to this place of fulfillment with these people, yes, but it's going to change you internally, where we see that like, instead of just kind of passively sitting there with your gifts, like this card is much more active, right? Like this person is holding this pentacle out. They're standing up, like they're moving somewhere, right? Or they've come from somewhere. There's some sort of action with this card. And it feels like you leaving something behind to take a risk on something else, even if it's a small risk, is going to lead to, this success. It's going to lead you to maybe realizing that like, oh, I am talented enough to like teach people things, or, oh, there really is an interest from a group of people around this thing that I have to share. Like, oh, people are interested in my offering, because I feel like, especially like these new people that you interact with, they're going to reflect back to you that like, oh my gosh, like I have so many people that are interested in that thing, or like, oh my gosh, you should go here and talk to these people because they'd be great people to connect with to get these supplies or to offer this in their store or whatever. It gives very much like, especially with the 3 energy, a lot of networking. It feels like really great networking opportunities, right? That you're going to meet people that do deeply care for and cherish you, and then you're also going to meet people that like just want to help, that are just like abundant in helping, abundant in acquaintances, abundant in knowing things about whatever this new thing is that you're stepping into. And like this creative numbers card, like I feel like there's a lot of conversations about success where like people are kind of trying to shift the narrative, right? That like being successful doesn't mean that you make like, I don't know, $1 million a year. For some people it does, but for a lot of people, like it doesn't, And so this card just kind of talks about that, like, success isn't indicative of your joy. And that like, not every marker of success is kind of like this hard line in the sand, right? It's not like these Q4 numbers or, whatever. It can be like that success feels like taking the risk to go to this event and meet new people and to have a really lovely time and just come home. And just, that was a really successful risk that I took to interact with new people, and it was lovely. It doesn't have to be that like, okay, I have this offering and I met these people and then I'm selling this thing that I make now, and now I have success because I made 100 sales or whatever. For some people that can be a gauged success, but really from like start to finish, how long does it take a new business to sell 100 of the thing that they make? So does it mean if it takes you 3 years to sell 100 of whatever it is that you create because it takes a long time, or because you haven't found your niche, or you don't have the right audience? Does it mean that you're not successful until you've done that thing? For some people, that's how they see it. But like, I would really invite you to challenge that, because like your success, if it's measured that way, is that based in your values, or is that based in like the old thing that you've been told is how you're supposed to operate or what you're supposed to do? So, with this last part, the numbers can be small, but still significant, right? That like, if you're trying to break old habits of like trying to break away from doing the same old things you've always done, and you do like one small new thing, right? Let's say that like part of your routine is that like every single day, you wake up and you brush your teeth and you make your coffee and you get dressed and you go to work. And you want to try something new, and you wake up and you have your coffee, and then maybe, I don't know, you do some journaling, or you read a book, or you play with your dog, and then you brush your teeth, and then you get ready for work, and then you go. Like, that's still something new and different that you did that deserves like acknowledgement. That if you're trying to do things a different way, and you did do things a different way, even if it's small, give yourself credit for that. Give yourself credit for that, because Three of Pentacles is a card of mastery. And how long does it take to become like really skilled at something, right? Like it takes a while. Like, we'll use like calligraphy, for example. Like, anybody that's like done any kind of calligraphy, or even like drawing, or like trying to write something legibly, if you're not a legible writer, the first time you do it is not perfect. It might not look like calligraphy. It might look weird, you might realize how hard it is to make the letter C look fancy, and you just keep trying. And this C looks like an L. What is this? I don't know. What am I doing? It's the first time you've done it. You're doing something new. You're doing something different. You're not going to master it after writing 3 calligraphy C's in a row. Like, you're not a master calligrapher. I know this is hard to hear. Hard to hear, because people that do calligraphy make it look so easy, like they just were born with a little pen in their hand. I don't think they were. I don't know any master calligraphers, but I don't think that's how it works. So giving yourself credit for the small things that you do, and whatever this change is that you want to make, whatever this thing is you want to leave behind, you don't, if you feel like a big change is too much or too scary, or it doesn't feel good, trust that inner knowing, right? That like small incremental changes over time are what leads to like lasting change. And it's very much the way that mastery works, right? That you don't become naturally good as a calligrapher if you only practice writing the letter C in calligraphy one time. It just doesn't work that way. Maybe you come back the next day and you decide, I don't like the letter C anymore. Let me try A. And you practice your A's, right? And then you come back the next day and you're like, let me try M. And that's weird. And then you come back and like it's these incremental small changes, right? That like small things can have big impacts. I feel like I'm running out of like euphemisms and sayings, but yeah, small. You don't have to do like a full personality makeover to leave this old stuff behind. That you can leave one small thing behind and have it make an impact in your life. Especially if you give yourself credit for like changing this one thing, or like acknowledging that you did something different. Yeah, I feel like that's, I feel complete with this message. Like, I feel like there's not anything else that's coming through. So group number 3, this has been your reading, and I hope it was helpful. I hope that it's left you feeling supported about trusting your inner knowing on whatever this change is, whatever leaving behind, whatever you feel like you're wanting to leave behind. Yeah, and just knowing that there's a lot, like the 3, well, group number 3, 3 potions, 3 of cups, 3 of pentacles. That's 4 3s. So if you feel inclined to look up 3333, 333, even just 33, that the numerology might be just, it might have some important messages for you, especially with this creative numbers here. yeah, but I hope that you enjoyed the reading. And if you did, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. If you'd like to leave a comment to just let me know how this resonated with you, I would love to hear that as well. So I hope they have a lovely day, night, or evening whenever you're watching this. And yeah, and that you just remember that sometimes when we take a risk, things can turn out much more beautifully than we expect. So yeah. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hello, group number 4. So if you chose this little moth in a potion bottle, this little guy looks so confused. Like, how did I get in here? I don't remember any of this. Let's take a look at your tarot cards to see what you need to trust your inner knowing about. Whoa. Okay. Sorry. I feel like that was just real. I have to be honest with you. This Hermit Tarot deck that is not a tarot deck, I feel like this kid is the, like, this deck always gives me like really big kind of Wild West kind of disruptive Uranus vibes. I think it's because every card is in all caps and it feels kind of like it's yelling at me. But also if you're familiar with this deck, there are some cards in there that are like, whoa, like, what is this? Or it's just like one word. And so I was hesitant to use it, but I am trusting that, there's a reason that Spirit wanted me to pull this card. And so I see there's a lot of swords here, which is kind of mental energy, thoughts, the mind. The sword suit, to me, it is typically a little bit of difficult energy too. So I feel like this is starting to make sense. I keep looking at this little guy. So what's coming through, because it's a lot. It's a lot. You're I don't know why I'm having a hard time getting this out. I think just because there's just so much. So I'm just going to start rattling stuff off. There's a lot of mental anxiety. There's a lot of feelings of being stuck, trapped. There's a lot of longing, wishing, hoping, praying for a new beginning. With these kind of dark clouds here and then the rainbow, it's like this feeling of like I need a break. I need a break and I need a breakthrough and I need an iced coffee. Like, you're fed up, a little bit sarcastic, very funny, great sense of humor, but it's almost like this is giving me the feeling of I have done this for as long as I can. I have held my tongue. I have kept quiet because in the reverse, so Queen of Swords, Queen of Swords is a great communicator. Queen of Swords is great with boundaries. I feel like a lot of people refer to Queen of Swords as like the ice queen. And I would challenge that, because will we ever call a man an ice king, right? And like what does that iciness denote, right? A lack of reactive emotion, a lack of warm emotion. I feel like calling someone an ice queen is really a gross way of saying that, like, you're not reacting in the way that I expect for females to react. Under traditional female gender norms, women should communicate sweetly and gently and softly and warmly, and so because you're not doing that, I'm going to call you an ice queen. If a man communicates with us and they're not warm in their language, we're not like, ooh, ice king. You know what I mean? Like, we don't ever say that. So that's just my bone to pick with gender norms, which has nothing to do with this. But typically this Queen of Swords energy is a very strong communicator, very healthy boundaries, doesn't really care if the truth that they share hurts other people's feelings, because it is their truth, right? That like you get to dictate what your own truth is. With this being in the reverse, as it is when it came out, this is giving it just giving me a very strong, like, I'm not gonna say what I want to say, maybe because you can't, right? Maybe you, or you feel like you can't, and this could be a workplace situation, right, where like you really want to pop off and tell them exactly what you think, but we all have bills, right? So we can't. Or it could be like, I'm gonna hold my tongue because I don't know how this person's gonna react. I don't know how this situation's gonna play out. I don't feel like it's safe for me to put myself out there and to die on this sword that is not mine, or like to die on this, to bear this burden that is not only mine. And so what I'm getting a big energy of, there's some kind of like weird group dynamics. And so it can either be work, it could be a family, it could be within like a cultural group. Like this could even be like collectively, like a whole country, society. And so there is something that is affecting this group as a whole, and it's really, really weighing heavy on you, and you feel like it has left you trapped. You're wishing for like one thing to happen to shift all of it, and you don't like what's happening, you don't agree with what's happening, but there's this element of powerlessness, but it's because that's what you've seen. Like you've been given we live in a really oppressive culture. Like we live in a really oppressive world. Like, let's be honest, that like those that have more resources and money have more power, and those that don't have as much resources or money have less power. And so there's so many systems that are set up to keep the oppressors in power and the oppressed out of power. And so that's why I say this can collectively be like a message for like a whole country or society or gender, or it can be something that's specific to your workplace or your family, or even like a friend group that you're in, or like a community that you identify with. And so you're kind of, gosh, there's some of you that are like, I cannot hold my tongue anymore. I'm about to go off. And then there's others of you that are like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I don't know what to say to enact any kind of change. And so like, I hesitated to use the word powerless, because it's not that you don't feel like you have the power to do anything. The issue is that like, it's too big, it's too much. I don't know where to start. I have no idea like where to start with this, you know. And it's kind of, it reminds me of, if you watch those like hoarding shows, or even like the videos, there's like a really short period of time where like in my TikTok algorithm, it was this lady that did like these extreme home cleanups, like people that just their houses had gotten like really bad through whatever circumstances. And like she would show a video in the beginning, and it was just like, my brain is like, oh my God, where do you start? And she just would pick a spot and start, you know, like it wasn't trying to organize things, because that's what my brain goes to, like, oh, you got to organize the trash, you got to do this. Nope, just putting everything that looks like it's trash or dirty or unsalvageable, just put it in a bag, just putting it in a bag, taking it out, and then once everything's cleared out, then she would start cleaning, you know, and then starting all the stuff on the surface, and then she'd move to like the kitchen, or not the kitchen, the refrigerator or whatever. But sometimes we just have to start. And so I feel like that's where the seek professional advice comes in. And so I feel like the connotation of seek professional advice is like tied to mental health, which it may be for you if that feels right, but it doesn't feel, to me, it doesn't necessarily feel like it. For those of you in the work situation, like this feels like talking to, I hesitate to say HR, but someone that is a professional that knows your area, your field enough to give you advice. So it really feels like for those of you in the work situation, like if HR feels like that's the right place, if you've already been thinking about HR, then take this as confirmation that HR is, if you've already been thinking about it, why not? But for others of you, this seek professional advice feels like reaching out to like a mentor, a professional organization for your field, to get some kind of advice from them about like, how do I, like, this is what's going on and I don't know what to do about it, and if you're worried about some kind of repercussions for reaching out about it, I would state that up front. If you need anonymity, I would state that up front. If you don't want to bring other people into it that are not ready to be into it, give numbers, that there's this X amount of people that I've talked to in my organization that are having the same problem I am. And, we're all worried about the repercussions of reporting this, or we're worried about losing our jobs, or like stating your concerns up front, I feel like is what's going to be really helpful in talking to this mentor or this professional organization. The way it's coming through is as a phone conversation. I'm seeing that like email is not the way to go, unless, this whole reading is about trusting your intuition. So if you feel like email is the best way, I would I would try to find an anonymous way to send the email. I'm going to be honest. But yeah, I feel like it's a phone call feel like to a professional organization, or even a phone call to a trusted mentor feels like that feels aligned. It feels like what I can see. Like I can see the person that you are reaching out to. It's almost like I'm watching them on TV, like giving you advice and talking to you. I feel like that can be very helpful for some of you, especially like if it's a professional issue. If this is a family issue, this could be like a professional, like a counselor. This could be a professional, like a social worker, like someone that is trained in family systems and like family therapy. Not necessarily like to bring those family members that you see as the problem, but just for you to reach out to talk to them, to find out, how do I help myself? I have this issue, I have this problem, like how do I figure out a way that I can get out of this trap situation? Like that, your heart might be in wanting to save everyone, but like if nobody else is ready to go with you, all you can do is do what is going to be helpful for you. So for others of you, this is really weird. It's not really weird, but this is what's coming through. For some of you, this is going to be working with if you're in America, or even if you're in a country that's having like some kind of political stuff going on, reaching out to your like voting officials and like the campaign people for whoever you are interested in supporting, because I feel like there's like really big social justice energy that's coming up with this Queen of Swords in reverse, that like you understand because I feel like you are this Queen of Swords in reverse. I also feel like you're this Four of Swords, which we'll get to, but as a Queen of Swords, like you understand that you have this natural talent to be an effective communicator. You understand what your power is as a person. You understand that like there's a little bit of an obligation to be in the front doing something, even if it's something small, because you know that that's who you are. You know that like you're the brave one. You've always been the brave one. You know that about yourself. But I think that whatever the situation is that you're in, it could be that it's so big that you don't know where to start, or it could be that like there's a little bit of fear in taking action because this is a whole new arena for you. You don't really know how to make change or like help people contribute to change, or like this is just a whole new like arena for you. And so this seek professional advice could be talking to like the voting officials for your county, for your city, for your state. This could be reaching out to a campaign headquarters for whatever candidate that really resonates with you, and talking to their organization about like, okay, how do I help? Like, how do I, like, I can't just sit here and do nothing because I feel trapped and powerless. And so I need to take action, because that action that you take is going to bring you back into your power. It's going to flip this Queen of Swords upright. And we can hold out hope that like positive things will come, that the universe is always working in our favor. But the part of you that was really stuck in this reversed energy was like praying for like some life-altering miracle, right? Like, can I just click my heels 3 times and we just can transport into a future time when everything is perfect, please? And it's like, it doesn't really work that way. And so you reaching out to whatever kind of leaders that are change makers, to see how you can contribute to making that change is what's going to flip you in the upright. And so I feel like the other readings, it's kind of been like a storyline, as far as like kind of past, present, future in a way, like very linear. I feel like for you, it's a little bit different, that if you choose not to seek professional help, you will remain in this kind of state, or if you choose not to reach out to outside organizations that can support whatever your goal is, you're going to continue to stay in this sort of trapped, upside down state. And that's going to lead you to really like burnout. This Four of Swords it's a card of rest. Excuse me, it's a card of rest. And so sometimes we can get Four of Swords and the message is like, hey, you got to fix your sleep schedule. You got to take a nap, lay something down, lay down one of the things you're working on, because you can't carry this much right now. Four of Swords also is like a mini death card, because this is a coffin. And in the traditional Four of Swords, the person laying on the coffin looks like they are part of the coffin. Like it looks like someone that's no longer alive. And so I feel like that death energy is much more prominent for this reading, because if you do choose to seek, this advice, instead of being burnt out, what you're going to do is bring about a death, which is an ending, which is a rebirth to whatever it is that's like making you feel trapped. That reaching out for that professional mentorship, reaching out to find a way to take empowered action is going to lead you to, turning your energy upright, regaining your queen energy, but also initiating this ending to whatever this kind of trapped energy was. Taking empowered action is how we create change, is how we put an end to something that doesn't serve us, that doesn't work for us anymore, so that we can have a rebirth, we can have something new, and it almost feels like once you make that decision to reach out to whatever that professional organization is, that professional service or support is, like, just for some of you, it's going to be finding that information is going to be a huge weight off. It's going to lift a huge weight off your shoulders. For others of you, making that contact is going to be like taking the action to make that contact is going to result in like the best night of sleep you've had in a long time. that like you just needed to take that action. You needed to call someone, you needed to do something. You needed to start this chain of events of taking your power back and taking action, and that is going to bring you into a place of being able to rest from this feeling of like being trapped and not understanding how you got there. Like, how did everything get so bad? Like, what is happening? Because it kind of feels like it feels like to you this came out of nowhere. And I'm feeling that with this kind of Ace of Swords, right? That literally, like when we have Ace energy, it's like the universe is bringing something out of nowhere. And so I hesitate to say that the universe brought this to you. I just feel like it feels like it came out of nowhere. Like, I think it got real bad real quick. To you, like from your perspective, it's like, I don't know how things got so terrible so quickly. Like, what happened? And yeah, I feel like the big message is taking that empowered action, like, and trusting your intuition to know like which person, organization is the right professional or external like organization to reach out to. Yeah, for some of you it's gonna take some time to find the right one, because I think some of you are in situations that it's not common, it's not normal, it's not something that happens. It's not like I feel like the ones who felt like this came out of nowhere, it's because whatever is happening doesn't make sense. Like, this isn't how things happen. This isn't how things work. And so as you look for that professional advice or that external advice, that's like safe organization to reach out to. I don't know why that's coming out. You might end up having to either be referred, like, oh no, you should talk to them, or you should go here, or you might call and somebody's like, this actually isn't the right place to, talk to or whatever. You should call these people instead. Like it's just something that's very out of the ordinary. So I feel like that feeling of being trapped, like, it makes a lot more sense now, because it feels like you didn't know what to do, because who knows what to do in this situation? Yeah, it feels like a little bit of like exasperation is what it feels like. So hopefully that resonates for somebody. But group number 4, this has been your reading on trusting your inner knowing. I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope that it brought you some clarity, and that, like, I hope that it's made you feel empowered, that you can take action, that even though you feel trapped and stuck, like you still have the power to like do something to make a change, even if it's just for yourself. If you enjoyed the reading, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. I'd love to read any comments that you would like to leave about this, if it resonated for you, if you would like to share. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a lovely day, night, or evening, and I will see you later. Bye.